what are some blockers that we can start to identify and start to overcome? Because I think that's probably a good first step.
Yeah. There are some common blockers, and everyone has a unique emotional landscape. So what are the ways that they're putting kind of a cage in front of themselves? What are the ways they're distracting themselves and blocking their own real authentic energy from coming through? The details of that will be unique to each person, but there are some common things for sure. And most of them have to do with fear. And one of the number one fears is a fear of being rejected or a fear of making someone else angry. So there's this people pleasing aspect to it. There's many of us learned when we were kids that expressing ourselves fully in our biggest, most joyous way or our full truth, we got kind of punished for that. We got shut down for that. People told us, don't feel that way. You don't need to feel that way, or like be more quiet. So we learned this pattern that it's not okay to show up in our authentic energy. And so we started to hold it back, to please other people, to not be rejected. And this fear built up inside of us that we can't be fully authentic. And every time we do that, every time we hold that back, we are reducing our impact and we're reducing our power. We're reducing the outcomes that we would really love to be able to create. So that's one. Another one is the desire for control. That holds people back because people want things to fit exactly what their minds thinks should happen, and where do those expectations even come from? That's more of our conditioning. But this desire for control highly reduces your ability to be present and resonant, because if you're really going to be authentic with how you're showing up, you can't be sure what you're going to say in any given moment. And you don't need to, because you get to a place of trust where you can be you and it's going to have the effect you want. But if you desire for control of other people's reactions, if you desire they aren't supposed to have certain reactions, or if you desire to control what you do because it has to be so perfect, you're never going to access the most brilliant aspect of yourself. You're not going to let that light come through you. So those are two very common ones: the desire for approval, the desire for control. It feels unsafe to be ourselves. So there's fear there.
Yeah. Okay. So something that you and I have talked about was just even when you feel that, when it comes up, where you feel it in your body. So tell us a little bit more about that. How can we know we're maybe encountering one of these blockers and it's holding us back? Because some of this, as you mentioned, we're conditioned. So it just may be automatic for us, and we may not even be aware we're doing it, and yet it's clearly happening.
Yeah. Any time we are emotionally uncomfortable, we are encountering some aspect of our conditioning. And I really like how you described feeling it in your body, because that's the best place to encounter our emotions in a positive and productive way. I'm scared right now, or I'm angry right now. Well, how do you know? What are you actually experiencing? How do you know that? What are your sensations? Because emotions are really body sensations that we then have stories about, and we have a whole lot of thoughts that come with them. And, very quickly our mind will say like, oh, that person should not say that thing to me. But actually that thought was generated by the anger. And if you could slow down, you would realize there's these sensations happening in your body that's saying, we're under threat, anger. And then the anger decides how you speak, So you can see that speaking from anger, this is a common one that everybody can understand. Speaking from anger is not going to be as productive, as impactful, as inspiring as speaking from, peace or love in a situation, But if we don't do this work and start to learn how to feel our emotions in our body and slow down with them and be more present with them, the anger will talk automatically. We won't even have that space to then make a more intentional decision. The conditioned part of us will just kind of take over. So yeah, that is what you mentioned is an absolutely great tool. It's the first kind of a first response way to slow down in any situation we're in. Oh, I want to tell this person they're wrong. Okay, wait, what am I feeling in my body? If you can just remember to ask that question, you'll save yourself so much headache, and you'll so much more quickly get into a space in that situation that allows you to communicate from your highest state.
So you and I did some work around this a little over a month ago, and I was sharing with you that I'd been struggling with having panic attacks as I've started to do more speaking engagements. And we talked about kind of where that was, and I could feel it like in my throat. It was like a tightening up in my throat. And I could almost like I couldn't breathe. It was like up high. I could even feel my shoulders like tighten up, and it was up here. So I could feel that there. And then we talked about kind of where to move that. So I actually developed some skills based on our work, our conversation, to shift that feeling. And I've found some really good success with that. It's been good. It's been great. It's been kind of funny what I've had to do, but it's worked.
Say more. Can you say more?
So what I found worked really well was we talked about when I felt more comfortable, I would almost have my hands around my stomach. It was kind of closer down here. I felt more comfortable down here. So literally what I do is I push my stomach out. And I'm already a little heavy right now, so I'm like sticking my belly out. But it literally pushes all that stress and tension that's up here high, and it pushes it down. And as soon as it goes down, it's gone. It's not up here. It's not near my throat. It's not blocking me. So when I start to feel that, I just go, oh, okay, push it down into my belly, and then I'm okay. And that helps me reset. So that's amazing. Just that process of shifting it in my body.